Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so this is the wreath that we just created together. And as you can tell, they're all ready to go. Okay, so if you will notice right here, there are 4 ruffles together. And there is a reason for that. That's what I was telling you. Don't throw away your extra mesh. Because with me, I always put extra ones of those together because I don't like my ribbon to get lost. So what we're going to do now is we are going to create a beautiful bow. This is called the Deluxe Easy Bow Maker. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. You can get them at Craft Outlet. You can get them from Hardworking Mama. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually measure 12 inches and I'm going to go down, okay? Do not be intimidated making a bow. It's kind of like windshield wipers, okay? So you're going to twist it and you're going to go out to 6 inches. It is already pre-measured for you on this deluxe bow maker, which is awesome. So you twist it, go to 6 inches on the other side. The reason why you twist it is because it will make your bows stiffer and it will make it stand up, basically. And you're going to do 6 inches on that side. So you got 2 6-inch bows or loops on that side. And then you're going to do another 6 inches. And then you're going to cut your ribbon, okay? Now, don't freak out if the ribbon is too long because you can fix that later. So you have 2 12-inch tails. You have 2 6-inch loops here and 2 6-inch loops here. Do not worry about spreading it out right now because you are going to actually be spreading it out later. The next one I'm going to do is this beautiful green that we did. Again, 12 inches. Put it down in the bow maker. You're going to twist it and your pattern will be faced down. Do 6 inches. Now, this does come with a spool that you can put your ribbon in. I just don't do that. I don't know why, but I don't. So you're going to twist and get your pattern back up. And you will be able to tell which side is shiny and which side is not. Some people only do 2 loops of each color. I like doing 4 total, but this one I just did 2. And you will see why in just a minute. And then cut your ribbon. Okay. The next one that we're going to do is the burlap. And this is the same ribbon that we did earlier in our wreath. I always normally let it match, I guess you would say. And then this one I'm going to take to the number 5 because I want my bow to have different dimensions. And I just think it makes the bow look better. And you just twist it again. Always twist it because it makes your bow stand up. It gives it that 3-dimension look. Then I'm going to twist it again. So the 2 bottom are 6 inches. The 2 tops are 5 inches, okay? See there? And just cut it. And if you don't get it exactly right, don't worry. We'll fix it in a minute. Gotta be patient. You gotta trust the process. Okay, then I'm going to go back and then I'm going to do 2 more of this green because I just want it, I want this bow to be really, really thick and really, really pretty. This wreath has already been sold. It is to a very sweet friend of mine. And she wanted something for Easter. And this is what I came up with. So, using that beautiful tin sign, excuse me, that I got from Hardworking Mama. Now, as you can tell, this did not turn out exactly right. So we're going to bring this up and we're going to start back over. Like I said, wreaths are not perfect. I'm not a machine. I don't do everything the first time. And thank the Lord my husband don't expect me to, because I would be in big trouble. Because I have messed up a lot of times. But you know what? Your spouses, don't expect them to be something that you yourself are not. Okay, so you can tell all of these little loops that we got. Now this is the 1.5 inch ribbon. I'm going to actually cut this. And let's see how long this is. It's about 26 inches. And I'm going to just cascade it down so it will be more predominant in the bow itself. And then I'm going to let it be a little bit shorter on that one. Now this one I'm actually going to do at 5 inches on each side. And I'm going to take it, and instead of doing 4, I'm going to do 5 little loops. Because my bow on top, I like it to stand up very, very good, and people can see the pattern. And when you working with a pattern, twisting the bow every time you go over like a windshield wiper, that's when it comes in handy. So you will see, and then take your tail and cut it. Now, if you can tell, now this and this is on the same side. So you're just going to take it and push it over to that side, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 5. Then these green ones are at 5. Then the bottom ones were at 6. Now when you go to take this off, you're just gonna, I had my wire pre-ran through it. And it just comes off so easy. This top loop didn't come out the way it's supposed to, so we're just gonna take my thumbs and do it the old-fashioned way. Alright, and then we're gonna just twist it. Houston, we have a problem. I let go of it too soon. Some people put zip ties underneath their bows, and you can do that. And then add the wire. That's another, Simba, shh. That's another option. Sorry, y'all, my dog he just loves to be part of the videos is all. And all I'm doing is twisting it, girls. Okay. So, this is the bow we have. Now I'm just gonna take it, and I'm going to start fluffing the bow. And just keeping my patterns the same way, basically, is what I'm going to do. Okay? The thing with your zip ties, you can pull a little harder if you want to. Sometimes with wire, it'll come undone, which is always fun when you create the perfect bow and then it comes apart in your hand. Simba, be quiet. So we're just doing this. I'm sorry, guys. This is just real life. I don't live in a bubble. I have dogs that bark. Fixing to have some chickens be crowing in the background. And that's okay too. It's called life, honey. Life ain't perfect. If your life is perfect, congratulations. You did something that I have no idea how to do. Just like people try to be perfect. There's nobody that's ever been perfect that walked this earth but Jesus. So, might as well take the stress off yourself and realize you ain't going to be perfect. If you try to be perfect, you're going to have a perfect breakdown is what you're going to have. Alright, so this is the bow. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the wreath, okay? So, this right here As you can tell, it has 4 of those. And hopefully you guys can see. We're going to take it down. And you're just going to find a place in the mat or in the wreath that you can take this wire and you're going to pull it down as tight as you can get it. And you're going to basically twist the wire. And you got to do this blind. I'm sure there's an easier way, but I hadn't found it yet. And I'm just going to take my wire and I'm going to twist it. Okay. I apologize. This is kind of tedious, but it's just the way it is sometimes. Anything worth having is worth working for. And in our case, we're working to make the perfect bow. So we just got to be patient, don't we? So I tell my grandson all the time, be patient, baby, be patient. Now, as you can tell, this bow is just standing out on this wreath. I mean, it doesn't squish. I don't know the proper terminology, but it doesn't squish down in the bow or down in the mesh. And then this is where you can go back and you can make it stand up or stand out, all your little loops. Now, this right here, you just take it. This is the great thing about working with wired ribbon. I just take it and do like this. And as you can tell, it just makes the ribbon stand up. Now, it also, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it also, let's see. Now, these are really long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and do like this. So it will add curls. And so that's what I'm doing with the super, super long ones, okay? Kind of corkscrew it, okay? All right. And so those extra little pink one, purple ones that we did, they're going to stand out really, really good. And if it's too long, use the scissors. And all I'm doing is kind of corkscrewing the green and corkscrewing the purple. Like I said, just take it like that. And with wired ribbon, it's amazing how it does. So now we have the perfect bow. Okay. Now, the sign that we pre-chose is this. And we're going to put it down here beside the bow. And you're going to reach through the middle. And you're going to bring it around. Bring the wire through. There's this handy little tool that actually feeds your wire through mesh so that you don't have to do it blind. And I've been trying to get a hold of one of those things forever. And the only place I can find it is Hardworking Mama, but it is sold out. It's like an $8 tool. But, so, you know what? If I ain't got it, then it's like this. If I ain't got it, I ain't got it. So you just got to do it the old-fashioned way, which means you got to feed it through with your hands. And you're just going to take the sign after you get it together. And you're going to twist it and put it on the wreath. So, there you go. Okay. So now we have our bow. And we have our sign. And as you can tell, everything is together. Can y'all see that? I hope so. Another thing that you can do after you get through is just go and fluff this up and just kind of go from there. But I'm going to see if I can let y'all see this. So this is the finished product. Isn't it pretty? I think we did pretty good. But with Easter coming, I just wanted to tell you guys to remember, just like Easter, Jesus is the reason for the season. And I want to read you guys something. Okay? Hold on, guys. All right. The name of this is, his name was Philip. He never felt like he belonged. He was pleasant enough to look at, but a bit different, and sometimes seemed unusual to his other 8-year-old friends. In his Sunday school class, several weeks before Easter, Philip's teacher introduced a special project. He gave every member a plastic egg, and he explained to every single child in the classroom that they needed to go outside and find a symbol for new life and put into the egg. Very excited, the class responded back. In the class, the eggs were opened one time, one at each child. And in the first egg was a pretty flower, and the next egg was a beautiful butterfly. And the meaning of the symbol, they told one by one. The third egg, the grass was green, and the children oohed and they awed. And in another rock, which was opened by little Philip, there was nothing in the egg. "That's stupid," said one of the children, and another grumbled, "Somebody didn't do it right." The teacher felt a tug on his shirt, and it was little Philip who said, "That's mine, and I did do it right." It's because the tomb is empty at Easter. There was an unusual and thoughtful silence, and strangely enough, from that time on, Philip was accepted as part of the group of children. Philip continued to struggle with many physical problems, and that summer he picked up an infection, which most children would have easily gotten over. But unfortunately, Philip's little body was too weak, and he passed away. At his funeral, 9 8-year-old children with their teacher brought their symbol of remembrance to little Philip, and they placed it in his coffin. Their unusual gift of love to Philip wasn't flowers, but it was an empty egg, now a symbol to them of life and hope. It was Philip, that different child, that child that did not fit in, who had helped his friends to see the wonderful meaning of Easter, and that is the empty tomb. No matter where you're at today, and no matter what you're doing in life, always remember that the tomb is empty for a reason, and that's because he rose again. So during this Easter season, teach your children what Easter is about. Take the time to tell them what the empty tomb means. And remember, silly rabbit, Easter is not about the bunny, it's about the cross. God bless you, and remember, this is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. Until next time, talk to you soon. Bye, guys.